Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details. Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18 plus.
This is Anything But Footy, the Olympic and Paralympic podcast, covering the games all the time rather than once every 4 years. I'm John.
And I'm Michael, and we are en route for Paris. Guess what? It's now just 100 days away.
And the Olympic flame has been lit. Famous Marseillaise, French national anthem sung by local school children in Olympia. We've got a special report.
I wonder if we're going to get used to hearing that anthem.
I think we might.
The Olympic and Paralympic Games in the summer. I think we might. Anyway, closer to home, Team GB have named their biggest group of athletes so far. We have 33 members in the swimming team.
Well, I've known for a couple of weeks now, and it's an absolutely amazing feeling. I've been working for this my whole life.
Cash for gold. Not some dodgy advert, but Sebco and World Athletics offer a new way for Olympic champions.
And in our news from the Games, we'll round up the rest of the Olympic and Paralympic headlines, including rowing, cycling and athletics.
Not necessarily in that order, so if you're listening for the rowing, just keep listening. Stay in touch with us and see what we're about anytime. Anything But Footy on social media or through the website, anythingbutfooty.com. So here we are then, 100 days to go, and the Olympic flame is once again burning bright. It has been lit, and it is on its way to Paris after going via Greece for a few days. The flame will now remain lit till the Olympic closing ceremony in August. That just really blows my mind. Anyway, we have a special report on the ancient ceremony in Olympia that dates back to 1936 in a moment. And I tell you, the sun didn't shine. A slight issue when you need to light the flame. All will be revealed. But before that, we'll hear from International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach, because there was a set of speeches before the ceremony, and he used his time to once again call for peace and an Olympic truce.
In these difficult times we are living through, with wars and conflicts on the rise, people are fed up with all the hate, the aggression, the negative news they are facing day in, day out. In their hearts, and I think in all our hearts, we are longing for something that brings us together.
Thomas Bach actually saying what most of us are probably thinking. Now, the flame has been lit, as I say. An Olympic reporter and historian and friend of the pod, Phil Barker, was there to see it.
The Paris 2024 Olympics seem just that little bit closer now, because the Olympic torch relay has begun here in ancient Olympia. It turned out to be a cloudy morning, which meant that the flame was unable to be lit from the rays of the sun. But all week the performers have been rehearsing here, and each time they've conserved the flame that was lit. The last time they needed this precaution was back in Sydney 2000. But the same problem happened when France hosted the Winter Olympics in 1968 in Grenoble. The weather was really bad then, and they even had to take it indoors. The first bearer was the single sculls rowing champion from Tokyo, Stefanos Ntouskos. He received the flame and took it to the Pierre de Coubertin Grove, which pays tribute to the Parisian Baron Pierre de Coubertin, who was responsible for the revival of the Olympic Games for the modern era. The second bearer was the great French swimmer Laura Manadou, who won gold in Athens in 2004. And over the next 11 days, the flame will tour Greece. It will visit the islands and eventually be officially handed over to Paris 2024 at the Panathinaikos Stadium in Athens in a special handover ceremony. The following day, it will be taken on the sailing ship Belém from the port of Piraeus and sail across to Marseille. And it was appropriate, therefore, that the crew of the Belém were here in Olympia to watch the very start of the journey. Somebody said that the journey of the Olympic flame to Paris 2024 will be like an Odyssey from Homer. I think they're right. Allez la France, and looking forward to the Olympic Games in Paris.
So as Phil was saying, the flame will now be carried around Greece for the next 11 days. 500 torchbearers just in Greece alone. Then they get the official ceremony in Athens. That's where Paris organisers get their hands officially on the flame. They then put it on a boat and it goes across the Med to Marseille and the torch relay begins. And we all remember that, of course, from London 2012 when it flew into Land's End. Now, what I love about this is that it's the start. We're nearly there, and the flame, as I said earlier, doesn't go out until it's all over. And what we witnessed at Olympia, yes, it's incredible. Yes, it's a spectacle. Yes, it's over the top, but it is actually quite meaningful. I actually think it's better than an opening ceremony.
No.
I think it is in ways of it's quick. I understand what they're trying to do, and it's about the history of the games and making sure that stays. Michael will have his say in a moment. But look, I managed to get a few words with Mark England, chef de mission of Team GB, of course, on this milestone, this 100 days to go and the flame being lit.
But the important thing is it builds a positive momentum. That's what it does. And then when it actually gets into country, all of the difficulties, all of the woes, all of the challenges of a very, very complex project, bringing together everything over a 6.5 year period. When it gets into country, that's when the excitement really builds. And, we're excited that it's just across the water.
I think Mark is right there. Awful line from Scotland, so I apologise for that. But it was good to hear him. It does feel like the start, Michael.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's always a special moment. I think it's always a beautiful moment. And I think it's one thing that cuts through to the general public. We are Olympic, Paralympic obsessives. But I think when you speak to people that maybe don't live and breathe it quite as much as us, one of the things they will know about the Olympics is that there's a flame and there's a torch and that flame doesn't go out during the games. Once it's lit, that's it. It is lit. And I think the torch relay, it's probably something that has taken on more significance and had more impact in recent years. I remember the torch relay ahead of Beijing in 2008. You'll recall that there was a lot of controversy around that one. They tried to take that torch relay to all of the previous Olympic host cities. I remember coming to see it in London at Tower Bridge, and you couldn't see it. I think it was Ellie Simmons who was carrying it where I was, but you couldn't see it because of all the security. I think it captured the public imagination, certainly ahead of London 2012. And that is, I think, for the first time where I kind of realised how special it was, actually, because, near where I live, I went to see it in Stockton-on-Tees, a pretty unremarkable town, if you like, in Teesside in the northeast of England. And there were hundreds, thousands of people on the streets in Stockton-on-Tees on a grey, gloomy, rainy Sunday morning as it was, all coming out to see the torch relay. And I think, as you said right at the start, this is it now. It's happening. The Olympics are on the way, and this is the start. That said, I still love the opening ceremony.
But a big announcement as well, with 100 days to go, of a big team for Team GB.
Yep, Team GB have announced a 33-strong team across both pool and marathon swimming. This has been confirmed just a few hours ago by Team GB to represent the British Olympic Association, to represent Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and to represent Aquatics GB at this summer's Paris 2024 Olympic Games. So let's break it down for you. 8 Olympic champions and 10 Olympic medalists. Of course, the big name is the Olympic champion, 3-time Olympic champion, Adam Peaty. We didn't actually get to hear from Adam Peaty today. All we've had from Adam Peaty is a quote which says, "I'm thrilled to have made my 3rd Olympic team. It's always amazing to be part of Team GB, but with it being so close to home in Paris this summer and us having more home fans there supporting us, it's even more exciting." I won't run through all 33, but I will mention that we do have some debutantes. We do have some Olympic medalists as well. Adam Peaty I've mentioned, Tokyo Olympic champions Anna Hopkin, Kathleen Dawson, Tom Dean and Matt Richards. Matt, who triumphed in the men's 100 metres and the 200 metres freestyle finals at the trials and the champs. And Duncan Scott, who of course claimed that record 4 medals at the Tokyo Games. 10 swimmers will be diving in at the La Défense Arena in July for the very first time at the Olympics. It includes Freya Colbert, the 2024 World Championship gold medalist, and backstroker Ollie Morgan, who broke the long-standing men's 100 metres backstroke British record at those championships, at those trials, as I mentioned. Let's hear from a few of them, though, now. Also, as part of that 33 squad, Katie Shanahan, set to make a debut at the Olympics after making the transition from juniors into seniors.
You go from a junior meet that everything is controlled, like you're controlled with everything, to a senior meet that you have like your own control with everything. So it's quite a change, but I much prefer the senior team. I know that the junior team was a lot of fun, and I had a lot of fun at my European juniors and stuff. But I think just being part of the senior team and on that senior level is just really good.
So I'm the dad of 2 teenage girls. What would you say to those girls and other girls listening to this about why they should continue to do gymnastics, go swimming, play football, whatever it might be, when there's so many other things that are there trying to get their interest?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously hard, especially growing up. You've obviously got a lot of other things outside with school and your friends and stuff. And I know it can be hard if you're doing a high level sport and you've had to miss out on a lot of things. But, I'd say just stick at it, because like if you enjoy something you do, then why would you stop doing it? You will end up missing the sport if you just stop, and you never know where you'll end up if you stick at it and stuff. And I think that everyone, especially females in sports, should just keep going. And because at the end of the day, we all inspire the younger generation of females to come up and do the type of things that we're doing.
Katie Shanahan speaking to me on that pad line to Stirling in Scotland, where we were able to speak to a few people today as part of this Team GB announcement of a 33-strong team across pool and marathon swimming. And Angharad Evans is another one who is going to be making an Olympic debut in Paris, and she was talking to me about how much it is a dream come true.
I would say it's always been a dream of mine, but I think, for any sporting individual, it's kind of the end goal. So, to have been selected is, such a dream. And, to be selected with 6 others from the same university as me, teammates of mine. So I'm just happy for everyone.
How important has that move to the University of Stirling been for you?
Oh, crucial. I 100% don't think I would be here without Brad and Steve and their coaching. And it's more than what they do in the pool. My overall happiness is just being at an all-time high, and I'm just really loving, being in the pool and my environment, my living environment. So, Stirling has definitely changed my outlook on swimming and how much I really enjoy it.
And what I love from that conversation I had with Angharad through the bad line to Stirling is that she was talking about what Stirling brings and talking about the happiness that she brings. And I think that's a really important message, because we know that the delay in the games ahead of Tokyo, and we know subsequently the strain, the stress that put on so many athletes and indeed coaches and support staff as well, I think we probably don't mention enough. So it's great to hear Angharad there talking about the joy that she gets, and hopefully as she heads towards her first Olympic Games, that joy will continue. Let's hear from another member of the team, 33 in total. Lucy Hope, she told me all about the strength and depth in Aquatics GB, especially for the women.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very grateful to be in the sport at the minute, as you know, the female side is kind of coming through and we're pushing that forward. Definitely, especially in the relays. You know, I think since 2021 we've kind of just went from strength to strength in that aspect, and you know, it is something special. And you know, seeing the younger girls coming through and making that even more, I'd say, adamant in that the strength of female sport is in swimming, but also in the rest of the sports as well, not just swimming. I think in artistic swimming, diving, the kind of girl power is kind of just pushing forward a little bit. I think we had our first medalist last year at Worlds in individually in diving and in artistic swimming. So you know, it's just kind of a really special time to be involved in the sport and be involved in all Team GB Aquatics.
And I think the Olympics and certainly Team GB are making great strides when we talk about equality. And, you know, we've mentioned so many of those names, Olympic champions, and we know how good the men have been over subsequent editions with the likes of Duncan Scott and Adam Peaty and James Guy and Tom Dean and Matt Richards and others. But I think fantastic, you know, not only have we got gold medalists like Anna Hopkin and Kathleen Dawson, but Katie, Angharada and Lucy all going to the games, all part of this upsurge, if you like, that Aquatics GB have masterminded over the past 4-8 years, the last couple of editions.
You can hear from many of those singers, you can hear from many of those swimmers in our last episode of the podcast. So if you follow, you'll get all that. You'll hear from the likes of Adam Peaty and Matt Richards and Freya Colbert. But the other things that just caught my eye in the team announcement, Michael, was Freya Anderson. She's coming back from glandular fever. She's in the team, which I think is great. She was an Olympic medalist from Tokyo, a gold medalist, although she said I was the reserve, so I never felt like I was. But she's back in the team. She's recovering from that awful glandular fever that she had at the start of the year, and didn't hit the qualifying time in the British Championships, but is in the team, which I think is right. Kieran Bird, who I spoke to, I think it was on the opening night, he got a personal best in the 400 metre free and lost out by like 200ths of a second. He will be going, he's in the team. He'll go with girlfriend Izzy Thorpe, who's the artistic swimmer, who's yet to be confirmed in the team, but she is going, which was great. And also Luke Greenback, who lost to Ollie Morgan, as you mentioned, in the 200 metre backstroke at those British Championships. He's in the team. He won a medal in Tokyo. Laura Stevens, the world champion, she was beaten in the British Championships. She's going, which is great, in the butterfly. And James Wilby, I think I said on the podcast, he was gutted when he lost the 200 metre breaststroke. And he didn't, well, he won that, but he lost the time, if that makes sense. So he won the race, but he was so gutted that he didn't get the time. But he is in there, and great backup for PT as well in the relays. So some really good names in that squad. It's in our social media. You can check it out. And we'll, of course, continue to talk to all of them as we count down the days to Paris. We are en route to Paris 2024. And as Michael was saying, it is the marathon swimming team that's also been announced. So Hector Pardew, the Tokyo 2020 Olympian, is back in the team for his second Olympics. He won a bronze medal at the World Championships in February. He's confirmed, as well as Leah Crisp, who actually watched at the Aquatic Centre in 2012 as a young child. She's now going to her first Olympics, which is great. And Tobias Robinson as well will make his Games debut in the summer 10-kilometre events in the River Seine, which is a bit worrying. But anyway, I caught up with him at the Aquatics Championships, actually, where he performed in the 800 metres and the 1500 metres in the pool.
I love pool swimming, not as much as I love open water, but I do love pool swimming. I've done it throughout my whole career. To be honest, it's just a means to an end for me, for the open water. We know you've got to be a good pool swimmer to be successful in the open water. You get world champions doing the open water who are world champions in the pool. So progressing the open water, the pool, is a means to an end for me, for my performances in open water.
What was it like getting a big cheer when they said, of course, you are going to Paris?
Yeah, well, I've known for a couple of weeks now, and it's an absolutely amazing feeling. I've been working for this my whole life, and you know, hearing that sentence gives me shivers.
Was it lonely doing the pool swimming? Because in the open swimming, there's lots of people around you.
No, well, I train with a great group in Loughborough. When we've got a world champion, world record holder in my group. We've got some great open water swimmers in my group in training, and we do the most meters out of anyone. But I don't find it lonely as long as you've got someone next to you to train with.
And what is the aim for Paris 2024?
Win gold. Simple as that.
So Toby Robinson talking to me at the Aquatics GB Swimming Championships. And just on the River Seine, Michael, obviously a lot of talk in the last week where Paris 2024 have said they haven't got a backup plan for the triathlon. It could be a duathlon. If there is sewage in the Seine and it's not safe to swim, which we saw last summer, didn't we, for the open swimming, that was cancelled. But the triathlon did take place from memory. And the same with the open swimming, that they have got contingency plans, but eventually they have to say, well, it might not go ahead, or they'll do it somewhere else, which obviously wouldn't work because they've planned all this time to have swimming in the River Seine. And I did talk to Mark England about it, and he said, look, we're not going to know until just a few days before it. So you can sit here and talk about it for weeks and weeks and weeks about whether it will be ready. He mentioned the water problems they had in Rio. We had problems in London with various things as well. He said, look, let's wait until we're there, and then we'll find out whether the triathlon will go ahead and whether the open swimming will go ahead.
It was a big part, wasn't it, of the Paris bid to bring swimming back to the River Seine. It's not been there, I think, for around about a century, and they said, we're going to spend, I think it's around about £1 billion cleaning up the river, and this is the catalyst, if you like. The Olympic Games, the open water swimming, the marathon swimming, and the triathlon is the catalyst to do it. They have struggled, and what we'll see is they'll be making tests. They'll be doing tests daily, and the weather will make an impact.
Yes.
If there's bad weather and heavy rain, then that means that we might have to go to that plan B or plan C option. It's interesting, I think I was listening on Talk Sport, an official Olympic broadcaster, to a former Team GB triathlete, Heather Townsend, actually, and she was saying it could actually, if it goes to a duathlon, work in favour of Great Britain, because obviously with no swimming, you look at someone like Alex Yee, the run is his strongest suit. You look at someone like Georgia Taylor-Brown, loves the run, loves the bike, the open water swimming. If it doesn't happen in the triathlon, if the triathlon becomes a duathlon, again, that might suit her. But that's all things to discuss and talk about, I think, in a few months. What we do know is that they will continue to try and keep the River Seine as clean as they can, and they will continue to test it literally every day. And as Mark England says, we probably won't know until right before the event. The contingency plan is that the men's and the women's individual triathlons are both rather near the start of the Games. So if we've had some bad weather just on the eve of the Games, that means we can't have the triathlon. They could delay it by a few days if we've had better weather, for example, during the first week. But we'll just have to wait and see. This is Anything But Footy, the Olympic and Paralympic podcast. Stay with us. We're going to talk cash for gold, and we'll round up the rest of the news from the Games en route to Paris 2024.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
This is Anything But Footy. We're en route to the Paris Olympic Games. We're 100 days to go. The flame is already burning. But what is actually burning in topics ahead of the Olympics is cash for gold, as the advert goes. But this is gold medals we're talking about. Huge news in the last week from an event that was set up with amateur sport at its heart. World Athletics came out and said, if you win a gold in Paris, you'll get 50k in dollars, £40,000. And then from LA28, silver and bronze medalists will get money too. Now, they are the first international federation to award prize money at an Olympic Games. 48 gold medalists will get a share of $2.4 million, which is what they get given, World Athletics, from the Olympics for their part of this world's greatest show. Now, the Sebco John Ridgen era, I think you can say, as we heard from John Ridgen in our own Great British Bosses podcast on Anything But Footy, they want to be innovative. They want to keep the sport relevant. They're looking at how they can do that, but it's evolution, not revolution. But they are trying to put athletes first, in my opinion. Now, some people agree with that, some people don't. Now, we heard from Mark England earlier, and I talked to him about this, and he told me that it's important that all Olympic sporting federations actually get together in one place and debate this. He didn't like the idea of it just being gold medalists, but as I say, they're looking at that for LA 28. But he says they actually all need to agree a line. So I kind of asked him if World Athletics had gone too early, and he said no, not necessarily, but he thinks there does need to be a debate, and this has started it. It is huge Olympics news, isn't it?
I put this question to around about 10 British swimmers who have been named by Team GB and Aquatics GB to go to the Olympic Games. And without exception, they all welcomed the news. They all thought that what World Athletics had done is the right thing to do. I mean, Tom Dean, a double Olympic champion, could have been $100,000 richer if this had potentially been in place 3 years ago in Tokyo, of course. He said to me, I speak to people all the time and they can't believe that by winning an Olympic gold medal, there's no prize money, there's no financial reward. He said, for the swimmers, the difficulty is why athletics are doing this now and why their sport isn't. He said, if you look at the statistics, the figures, the audiences, the spectators and everything else, we're working as hard as they are. Why aren't we getting a bit of this pie? And as I said, I spoke to all the swimmers today, and Duncan Scott, amongst others, was very forthright about this. He said to me, and this was a sort of paraphrasing what he said to me, he says, do I get in the swimming pool and train 20 hours a week? Do I do 3 hard gym sessions? Do I do all of that for money? Do I do all of that to win a cash reward at the end of it? No, I do that because it's my passion. And I do that because it's my calling, and I do that because I grew up wanting to be an Olympic champion. But should we be rewarded as much as the track and field athletes? Absolutely. And I think if you go and speak to all the athletes, they will all say the same thing. Of course, there should be some kind of prize money for the Olympics. This is, their biggest showcase. You get prize money at the World Aquatics Championships. The swimmers, the divers don't get as much as the track and field athletes get. I think the swimmers get around about 20,000. The track and field athletes get around about 70,000 at the World Championships, and it's going to be 50,000 for the Olympic Games here. I think what World Athletics have done is started the debate, as you said there, as Mark England says, they've started the debate, and where they have led, I think other international federations will have to follow.
It does put more pressure on those other sports, and it actually puts the pressure on in the next 100 days, doesn't it? Because it is unfair if you get a gold medal and you get the money in these Paris Games and other people aren't. So I can see why they would want that to happen. Let's hope the federations can get together in the next 100 days. But we know that this movement is quite a thing to move, isn't it? The Olympic movement isn't going to change its mind very quickly.
Let me just say this. I put that exact question to Tom Dean, who I was talking to for radio, for TalkSport, ahead of their Olympics coverage. I said, do World Aquatics need to move in the next 100 days? He said he thought that was unlikely, but he hoped, obviously, that for Los Angeles something would be done. Okay. But my final point on this is everyone is making money out of the Olympic Games, John. Mm-hmm. We love it, but we're there making money. It's our job. We're making money out of the Olympic Games. The AOC are making money out of the Olympic Games. The international federations are making money out of the Olympic Games. The host cities, the host countries are making money. The sponsors, the partners, the stakeholders are making money out of the Olympic Games. Why are we all watching it? Why are we all so excited? It's because of the athletes. Why aren't the athletes making money out of the Olympic Games?
Absolutely right. In other news from the Games, rowing is coming up. But first, what a performance this week at the Boston Marathon. Normally this week in this country, it would be dominated by the London Marathon, which is coming up on Sunday, of course. But what a headline from Monday. 22-year-old wheelchair racer Eden Rainbow Cooper, the first British woman to win the elite women's wheelchair race at the Boston Marathon, ahead of a world-class field of 1 hour 35 minutes and 11 seconds. And it was also her first Abbott World Marathon major. An incredible performance. I remember she competed in the rather tough course around the streets of Birmingham in 2022 in the Commonwealth Games. So really good news and a groundbreaking performance from Eden Rainbow Cooper. Remember that name.
I'm still getting over the shock in your voice at the start of that when you found out you were making money out of the Olympic Games. Staying with para-athletics, and Hannah Cockcroft, Holly Arnold and Ali Davis head up a smaller British team of 18 athletes for the World Para-Athletics Championships in Japan in May. British athletics say, of course, their main focus is the Paralympics this summer. They've selected a team of 12 men and 6 women with the aim to gain qualifications for Paris and support those on the way to hopefully winning medals.
CJ Uja is back in the men's relay team for the World Athletics Relays in the Bahamas in May. The British sprinter was banned and the 4x100 metre team stripped of their silver medal in the Tokyo Olympics after he tested positive for a banned drug. Now, the objective of the World Athletics Relays Bahamas 24 is to qualify all relay teams for the Paris Olympic Games, say British Athletics. 32 men and women make up the sprint and 4x4 relay teams. There is still no Adam Jamili, though, as he makes his return from injury.
And I should say on the sport of track and field and athletics, if you haven't caught it already, our most recent edition of Great British Bosses, we have 3 bosses on there. Jack Buckner from UK Athletics, Paul Foster from the Great Run Company, who operate events including the Great North Run, amongst others, and also Hugh Brasher, who is, of course, in charge of the London Marathon. And John has been speaking to those 3 about a new partnership that has come together now, looking at the way we are hosting and staging events, track and field events and wider athletics events in this country, both from sort of grassroots right up to elite level. Of course, there will potentially be a bid for the World Athletics Championships coming later on this decade as well. So if you haven't heard that one yet, 3 in 1 speaking to John. It's a terrific interview on Great British Bosses. Meanwhile, double Olympian and current world champion Bryony Page has bagged another gong before Paris. It's the European trampoline title. It comes as Ondine Champong has been selected for the women's European gymnastics teams in Italy. She told us in one of our previous podcasts after her British Championship win that she was hoping to be selected ahead of Paris 2024. And the old sands of time, they're beginning again to go. Max Whitlock has confirmed that Paris will be his last Olympics. The 3-time Olympic champion hasn't officially been selected yet, but he is in the men's European Championship team. Won the British pommel title earlier this year. Barring any kind of illness or injury, it would be a huge surprise, a massive shock if he wasn't part of Team GB for one final hurrah in Paris this summer.
And he stood in for you on the podcast once, didn't he? Remember after Tokyo, I did a podcast with Max Whitlock. He was very good. Actually, yeah. Better
than me. I'm
not sure. I'm not sure I'd go that far, but he was pretty good up there. So if he's wanting something to do after Paris, Max, give us a call.
I was just going to say, actually, one of my favourite Olympic memories is during the games last time around in Tokyo. Obviously, I was broadcasting those games on Talk Sport. And one of the presenters went, "There's been a medal in the gymnastics for Michael Waddock. Max Whitlock reports."
Well,
just for a moment, I was on that podium.
And Max was doing your job.
Yeah.
And he did it very well. Now, on to rowing, because World Cup 1 was dominated by the Brits as they remain on course to put behind them their worst ever Olympics in Tokyo 3 years ago. I don't need to keep rubbing it in, but it does need worth pointing out. The British rowing team won, though, 5 gold and 4 silver medals and topped the table in Varese. Olivia Bates won the first gold in the lightweight women's single on Saturday, followed by goals in the men's pair, lightweight women's double, women's 4 and the men's 8. And Emily Craig and Imogen Grant, who are names that we need to know before the Olympics. So these are 2 that if someone says to you, who is going to win a gold medal, you can say, look, you probably haven't heard these people, but they are going to, because they are unbeaten as they now head into that European Championships in Hungary next week, Michael.
Yeah, and you mentioned, obviously, the poor medal return for rowing. By our own high standards, it has to be said 3 years ago. I think we're going to see a complete turnaround this time, and I think it will be one of the stories of the first week. It will be a really exciting first week of the Olympic Games for Team GB, because I think we're going to see lots of medals in rowing in the morning and lots of medals in swimming in the evening. as someone that's gone through all the planners and put the spreadsheets together recently. Staying with rowing, the lightweight double sculls are the only GB crew unbeaten in this Olympiad so far. So let's hope that continues in and during Paris, of course. The women's four, Esme Booth, Sam Redgrave, Rebecca Shorten and Helen Glover, go again after victory at the weekend. The men's four will hope to return to winning ways after a silver behind the Italians. And the para-rowing crews are also taking to the water for the first time this season. Josh O'Brien comes into the unbeaten PR3 Mixed Cox 4, replacing Morgan Feist-Noyes. Those European Rowing Championships, we will be across them. They take place, as John said, in Hungary towards the end of April.
Looking forward to that. It's 100 days to go. The flame has been lit, despite no sunshine in Olympia when it happened, and Team GB have named their biggest team so far. But there is a lot more to come. Stay with us. Anything But Footy on the socials. What are we on these days, Michael? We're on X, Insta,
Twitter.
Yeah, TikTok.
Facebook, remember, for old people like us?
Yeah, Facebook. So look, you can track us down.
YouTube.
Anything But Footy. Oh yeah, YouTube as well. Also, our latest blogs, and there is one coming up from Michael that you need to read. That will be coming out next week as well. So make sure you check out our website, anythingbutfooty.com, and stay with us. We are en route to Paris 2024, the Olympics and Paralympics, and those Olympics just 100 days away.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.